Coming up, advocates push for changes to help domestic violence survivors.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. A Kentucky representative is working to add to the state's protective order statute. Representative Stephanie Dietz intends to file a bill that would add coercive control to the legislation. Grayson Passmore sat down with her today, who says this can help a lot of people get out of an abusive relationship before any physical violence begins.
Not only a representative from Northern Kentucky, Stephanie Dietz is also a family law attorney. And it's when a client came to her 5 years ago that she first learned about coercive control.
It's a pattern of behaviors. You're taking away their personal freedoms and their autonomy. So removal of their friends, convincing them to quit their job, got in trouble if she hung out with her friends or saw her family. Why don't you cut back on your hours? Why don't we have you use my credit card?
Receiving an emergency protective order wasn't an option for her client, but in her case, they were able to prove that there shouldn't be shared custody. However, Dietz knows many victims of domestic abuse don't always have access to the same resources.
You know, people say, well, they could just walk away. They can't. They're being controlled. They don't have access to funds. They're afraid they're going to get in trouble. They may not have a car, or the car keys are being taken away. But what they may have is somebody that will take them to the courthouse.
Currently in Kentucky, in order to receive a protective order, there must be the threat of physical violence or an act of physical violence. Representative Dietz wants to add coercive control to that short list. She says doing so could save many lives.
And we've really got to get used to looking at what that pattern is and understanding what leads up to the ultimate act, unfortunately, of either the physical violence or the death of someone.
In Frankfort, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
8 other states have added coercive control to their protective order statutes. We're learning more about a violent assault inside a Laurel County home that we first told you about last night at 11. Heather Manning is charged with assault, wanton endangerment, and unlawful imprisonment. According to her arrest citation, she's the daughter of Judy and Joe T. Roberts. London police say she was found outside their home Sunday night with a gunshot wound. The Roberts were found injured inside the home. Police say Manning had been holding the 2 prisoners. An arrest warrant says that Joe Roberts was able to shoot Manning, but not before police say she left serious injuries on Judy Roberts. The report says Manning even tore the landline phone from the wall to keep the victims from calling for help. A Perry County murder trial has ended. Troy Campbell was found guilty of reckless homicide. Police said Campbell shot and killed Ryan Whitaker in a driveway in February 2023. Campbell's attorney had argued he was acting in self-defense. Police are searching for 2 missing people in Letcher County. The search comes after a house fire in Jenkins on Monday. Police are searching for Tyler Newsom and Alicia Newsom. Officials have asked that anyone with information on their location should call 911. Also in Letcher County, Jenkins police want people to pay attention when handling cash after reports of fake movie money in circulation. Police say one business in Jenkins has already fallen victim to the bogus bills. Officers are reminding folks examine any cash you get, especially $20 bills. The fake money will say for motion picture purposes and in prop we trust. If you have counterfeit money, call Jenkins City Hall or police.
Well, as advertised, we had temperatures in the low to mid 90s. Some places had heat indices well into the triple digits, especially towards Monticello. Numbers for today made it to 97 in Somerset, 96 in Monticello. Charleston made it to the 100-degree club. 95 was the high in Moorhead, 93 Jackson. We actually made it to 93 in Hazard, as well as Jonesville and Harlan. So another hot one across the area. That trend will continue for your Thursday. We're sitting at 82 right now in Jackson, 80 in Charleston, 83 in Louisville, 70s from Monticello to Harlan. Jonesville, good evening to you guys. You're at 72, and then upper 60s towards Clintwood, as well as Grundy. Pikeville's at 80. Pikeville's feels like temperature right now is 82. 80 is the heat index in Monticello. 73 in London, 79 in Irvine, Moorhead, as well as Ashland. Live pinpoint Doppler radar showing a clean sweep across the area. This will get a break for the morning and afternoon hours tomorrow, but rain chances will start to pick up. Look at that 12 o'clock temperature, 90. That trend continues for your Friday as well. And then we're going to cool off as we go throughout the weekend. And we'll talk about that coming up in the First Alert forecast in a few minutes. Steve.
Eric, thank you. A monument to honor the victims of the July 2022 flood was unveiled in downtown Hazard this afternoon. The monument has the names of all 46 people in eastern Kentucky who died during the flood or their deaths soon after were related to the flooding. Mother and daughter duo Rhonda and Rachel Crawford planned the monument. The two say they wanted to remember the victims, including Mick, Rhonda's son and Rachel's brother. Samantha Carey works with AmeriCorps and says this was a special event.
I think it will definitely be utilized by everyone in the community. I mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful monument. And the talks of the benches and things and the different things they're going to add, I think will just make it even more superb.
The monument is located next to Hazard City Hall and the Veterans Memorial that's been there for years. Dozens of people came out for the unveiling ceremony. Congressman Hal Rogers and the Letcher County Planning Commission are continuing to work toward bringing a new federal prison to Letcher County. Congressman Rogers' work towards the prison started about 20 years ago, but Thursday was the first time, or today was the first time, a director of the Bureau of Prisons made a personal visit to the county. While many are excited about the project, there's been some opposition, and former employee of the Federal Bureau of Prisons and Eastern Kentucky native Greg Burks has questions for those against the opportunity.
And my question to them is what are you going to bring here to help my people? If you don't want this, what are you going to bring in here to help these people grow, help them be successful, sustainability for the future?
The proposed site for the prison would be in Roxana and would make the 11th facility in the Commonwealth. Today, Vice President Kamala Harris hit the campaign trail for the first time since accepting her party's nomination, and Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance traveled to 2 battleground states. CBS's Natalie Brand has the latest campaign 2024 news from Washington.
Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, kicked off a 2-day tour of southern Georgia Wednesday night. Their first stop, a high school band class in Hinesville.
Your generation, all that you guys stand for, everything you have at stake is what is going to propel our country.
The duo's trip to the battleground state comes as a new CBS News poll shows Harris and former President Donald Trump tied in the Peach State, which President Biden narrowly won in 2020. Trump's running mate J.D. Vance stumped in the swing states of Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, where the race is also neck and neck. Talking to truckers in Erie, Pennsylvania, Vance was asked about an incident at Arlington National Cemetery earlier this week. Defense officials tell CBS News that some Trump staffers got aggressive physically and verbally with an official at Arlington when Trump arrived to the cemetery with a campaign photographer during a ceremony to honor service members killed in the Afghanistan war withdrawal. Arlington National Cemetery policy prohibits photography for political purposes.
Kamala Harris is disgraceful. We're going to talk about a story out of those 13 brave, innocent Americans who lost their lives. It's that Kamala Harris is so asleep at the wheel that she won't even do an investigation into what happened, and she wants to yell at Donald Trump because he showed up. She can go to hell.
Former President Trump was not on the campaign trail today, but rallies Thursday in Battleground, Michigan, and also holds a town hall in Wisconsin moderated by former Democratic Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
Harris and Walz will do their first sit-down interview tomorrow in Atlanta. Meanwhile, J.D. Vance's stops in battleground states comes just days after he made a stop in Lexington for a campaign fundraiser. The Herald Leader reports the event raised $2 million. It was hosted by Joe and Kelly Craft. About 100 people were there for that fundraiser. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, more from a one-on-one interview with the legend that is Dolly Parton.
And in the world of weather, 90s continue tomorrow. Meteorological summer ends on Sunday, and we'll kind of go over the stats for the meteorological summer in a few minutes. Stay with us.